It's Sunday, September 8th, 2013. We are live once again from New York City in the MLG studios. We have three amazing Dota 2 matches today featuring Dignitas, Stay Free, the Joikernauts, No Love, and Shadow Fiend Eats Cake. It's the North American Dota 2 League, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the North American Dota 2 League for the fall. I'm MY John, broadcasting to you live from the MLG studios, and we are very happy to be here for our second day of competition for the NA League. Last time we got to see some really good matches, and we expect the same out of today's three best-of-2 sets that are coming up shortly. But first, I'd like to introduce my friends over at the BTS studio that'll be commentating the games for us. Let's go ahead and bring in Merlini as well as Gods. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I've got Ben out of bed. I've also got him nicely dressed up and looking pretty. He's got a nice new haircut.
I know. Why do we have to look so fancy? Not yet. This is not our normal style.
Come tomorrow, they'll be putting us in suit and tie. By next Sunday, we'll be in tuxedos. I don't know where we go from there, but
I have to wear like spectacles too and do my hair all fancy.
Eventually we'll digress. But how are you doing, John?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I'm glad to see you guys have to at least dress a little bit more like me, so I'm not the only one looking fancy on the stream. Of course, I guess that's kind of in line with Pretty Boy Swag's idea. I mean, we got to be a little bit hype, a little bit nice. But let's go ahead and take a look at the tournament format once again. So we can discuss how the tournament is going to go. Most of you know already that the league is going to run for 4 weeks, and it's going to culminate in a playoffs that will take place at Full Sail University in Florida as a LAN finals, with the top 4 teams from the league making it there. And the way to actually make it to those finals is going to be throughout the round robin format. It's best of 2s. Each team plays each other team once in that kind of set throughout the course of the next 4 weeks, and the top 4 teams will qualify for that Full Sail LAN Invitational, where they'll have the opportunity to battle it out for $15,000 in prizes, as well as, maybe a little bit more important, the coveted invite to MLG Columbus, the fall finals for MLG, which is huge because, of course, that competition is going to be a really big one, especially for Dota 2 LANs in North America. Let's go ahead now and take a look at some of the teams participating in our tournament. Last week, we got to see Avanti's Angels, last week, it was only on Wednesday, we got to see Avanti's Angels in action. They actually split a set with another team with Purple. We also see Dignitas will be playing 2 games today. They're going to play with their revised lineup, which we can talk about much more in depth later. The Joikernauts get their debut today. Some NA veterans on that squad. No Love, another one of those mysterious surprise teams, will also debut against the Joikernauts in our second game of the day. Pretty Boy Swag, one of the favorites in the tournament, start off 0-2, so they have a mountain to climb to get back into competition, but they are surely capable with the talent on their team. Purple split that set with Avanti's Angels. We have Shadow Fiend Eats Cake, the surprise team featuring Relic that took down Pretty Boy Swag, and Stay Free, the second team we'll see in our first match of the day today. Another team with very high expectations. And we'll see if they can actually live up to that against the stiffest of foes in Dignitas. And with that, let's actually go ahead and look at our first match of the day. Or actually, we'll preview all our matches initially. We see Dignitas versus Stay Free is going to be our first best of 2. Then we'll head into the Joikernauts versus No Love. And we'll round it out with Dignitas again against Shadow Fiend Eats Cake. We'll see how Relic can manage against one of the top North American teams, which surely should be an interesting show for us later on. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because the first match is going to be amazing. Stay Free, a team that have been on the rise for quite some time, taking on Dignitas. And let's go ahead and look at the team rosters and preview this match for you here. We know that Dignitas, of course, revised their roster a little bit. Guys, looking at this, we see Fogged is going to be playing the solo mid, Korok on the hard carry, Infinity off lane, 1437 on the 4 support, and PPD on the full support. What do you make of this team? It's definitely a different look from Dignitas a year ago. They only are retaining Fog, but they bring in some of the best talent. Korok won 4-3-7 and rounded out with good old veterans in Infinity and PPD. Interesting storyline with him that we can talk about when we go to Stay Free. But what do you think of this new look Dignitas team?
Fog used to play solo mid for Dignitas some time ago before they switched snaking back there, so he's not really unfamiliar with the role. But I think the biggest interesting factor is bringing in Korok. He's kind of the playmaker, was the playmaker for Liquid, and it'll be really interesting to see how he fits into this Dignitas team.
How about PPD? I've heard of the other
Yeah.
4 Fogs, Dignitas, Korok from Liquid, 1437 from LGDN, and Infinity I actually used to play with, but PPD seems to be the unknown guy here.
Yeah, he was actually, I don't know whether you say poached, but he was formerly on the team they're going to be going up against, Stay Free. So he's jumped ship now with Dignitas. Bit of a rivalry, maybe some bad blood, who knows? But he's an unknown name coming out from, I think it was on the former Complexity Hon team. Stay Free were mostly the former Complexity Hon team and now switching over to Dota 2. So really looking forward to see how
this
they
is
do.
a team to look out for.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about Dark Falco stack, but this is like the real pros. They have quite a few
Yes.
TI3 attendees, maybe even TI2. I think Korok played there. So these are the big names. They should crush this easily.
Well, I feel like this is the one team who, in this NA league, is probably going to give Dignitas the best run. They've some of the most experience as far as being pro gamers. Maybe not with Dota 2, but they played Hon professionally. Unfortunately, they're having some roster problems, which could make it a bit harder for them. But I'm looking forward to see what they do against Dignitas. But Dignitas are just going to be in another league compared to most of the other teams. And without Liquid or EG here, it's going to be who can actually beat Dignitas.
Yeah, this should be their like first major showing too. Last we saw Fogged was a month ago in TI3, and there's been nothing in between now and then to gauge how strong this team is yet.
What about Infinity?
Infinity, I think, is an
Versatile all
incredible
the time,
player.
yeah.
He's not the most committed player. I know he had a lot of family issues around the time, so he couldn't really play on a professional team, but his skill is unquestioned. He's a fantastic off laner. He plays support well and solo well. He's a very flexible player.
Cool.
Yeah, Infinity is one of those OGs that you mentioned has been around for a long time. Some people may not know him if they've been following more recently, but certainly has proven himself in the scene before. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other team you're talking about, Stay Free, who will be facing off against Dignitas. It's a really rough match to open up on, but we can see the roster in front of us. Stay Free are featuring Corey, Enzo, Zai, Trouf, and Jabano. Worth noting that Zai and Trouf will not actually be playing today. They're going to have stand-ins. Rolo, of course, a player that used to play for Fnatic NA, and Rhyme, I'm not exactly sure who he is, but they're starting off against the stiffest of competition with Dignitas there, and not playing with a full roster could definitely put them at a slight disadvantage. Jabano's stepping in for that 5th slot that was vacated by PPD, who transferred over to Dignitas as we made it into the league portion of this tournament. He did play with them throughout the qualifiers on Stay Free's team. A lot of people have been praising him as a really good strategic mind as of late. I know, especially in the NEL, PPD's been getting a lot of hype, and he has that background with Han that makes him very popular as well. But you guys mentioned this could be a really good competition for Dignitas. I know over the summer, Stay Free competed pretty well with KP on a couple occasions. Enzo is definitely a talented mid laner. What do you guys make of this team overall?
It's hard to call with a team like this. I mean, they're veterans. They've played together, but at the same time, having one of their key players, PPD, leave the team so recently will hurt them a lot. They're bringing in new players. They're actually playing with stand-ins today as well. They haven't got their most well-known player, Trouf, who's been playing a lot of Dota 2 lately. He's actually on their roster, but he's got a stand-in from today. So I was looking forward to seeing this team play, but their opening match against Dignitas,
Are they all ex-Han pros?
as far as I know,
On the normal roster, yeah.
The only guy that rings any bells to me is Rolo. I think I played with him a few times at IXDL, but other than that, I have no clue about the team. But again, like last week, that could play into the team's favor by just they don't know anything about him.
I mean, we saw Relic on Shadow Fiend Eats Cake, not just a good team name, but also an amazing solo mid. If they get a player like that, anything can happen.
Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Dark Horse.
Every team's a dark horse. We've got 7 dark horses in Dignitas, so every pre-match is gonna be like, this is the dark horse of the tournament. Who isn't the dark horse apart from Dignitas?
Dark Falco?
Dark Falco, yeah. Dark Falco's
That's
a
it.
disappointment.
I know.
I'm sorry, Dark Falco. All you Dark Falco fans. I think it's just Blitz. He's the biggest Dark Falco fan.
We were all disappointed. I had higher hopes.
But I'm looking forward to see how they do, as with so many of these North American teams in the NA League here that MLG have put on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think they have a lot of potential. They were definitely one of the teams that a lot of people had top four mapped out coming into the league. So we'll see if they can actually live up to expectations or if perhaps they fall off a little bit. And here is our match preview screen. Of course, seeing Fog go back to that solo middle role, it's what a lot of people have been asking for quite some time now. He is definitely talented in that solo middle, different than a lot of the other North American solos. He's not as aggressive. He's more conservative, plays it safe, gets his farm, but we'll see what he can do in the match. Let's go ahead and head into it. You guys can take over with the cast. It's going to be a good one.
Well, here we are, guys, live with our first opening match of Sunday's MLG North American League. Leading up to the full sale land, $15,000 up for grabs here between 8 of North America's finest, at least current finest, with EG Liquid not having a roster to boot. They chose not to participate, but we're here with some upcoming teams. Stay Free, some ex-Honors up against, well, a bit more known name, Dignitas. Composed of Fogged, very well-known player. They've also got Korok, former Liquid player, Infinity, a well-known NA Dota player, a former Hon player, PPD, and then 1437. He's back from China playing Dota again.
Yeah. So where exactly is 1437 from? Is it
Canada?
Canada. Okay. He's one of the stronger supports. I remember watching him. I think like around the TI2 time, and he really impressed me with a lot of his Shadow Demon play. Not too impressive in TI3. LG didn't go too far in the tournament, but still one of the strongest supports in the world. So, anything unusual about this draft thus far?
I'm happy to see an OD ban. Well, I'm sure many of the players are. One of the heroes that no one wants to go up in the mid lane, and something that
I don't think he's first ban worthy though. Personally, I mean he's annoying, and he will win his lane, but that laning phase is not that important in the mid lane. As long as you get levels with like a reasonable hero, and it's not like there aren't counters. We've seen Razor. I've heard William talk about Tidebringer with Kunkka. I mean, I think there are Nakes.
I think last MLG we even saw the Viper go mid against him.
There's plenty of options versus him, and it's not like a Wisp where you just like can't really do anything versus him, and it's like such a versatile hero. But
we actually get a Wisp ban. We saw no Wisp bans last Wednesday. So Dignitas.
They do have Wisp players though. I know Fog can play Wisp, and
this is Dignitas.
Yeah, this is Dignitas.
Naga Siren slips through though. This is a support hero that a lot of these teams have rated very highly. So it gets through, as does Visage. We're seeing these strong support picks get immediately snatched up. Generally played as the farming support. Both these heroes not sort of your hard supports, but they're just so powerful in all stages of the game.
Yeah, and there should be a Weaver pickup pretty soon too. Like last week, I think we saw Visage and Weaver picked up like almost every time in the first phase, similar to TI3. It doesn't seem like picks have changed too much, but Stay Free will be forced to ban Wisp, I think, both games, regardless of first or second pick.
The one thing that may sort of start changing, we've got our 4 new heroes, Abaddon, Centaur, Tauren, and Troll. So I've heard about EG first picking Abaddon in scrims. Fluff and stuff was talking about how Abaddon's like a new big hero. We've seen Elder Titan here and there in games. Troll even picked up in tri-lanes. Do you see these heroes as being competitively viable or just sort of experimenting?
I don't think Abaddon is. Personally, I think it's a really weak hero. I think his range is too low as like a type of healer role, and if he gets like caught in something like RP, like if someone gets RP'd, most likely Abaddon's gonna get caught. You can't just like run up and then shield. And for like the most part, I think he's like okay in lane. I think he's like fairly level dependent, but his just range is just too low. And Omni Knight, I think like offers a little bit more. He has more AoE, and he will die a lot easier, but not too many people get like Orchid and stuff anymore, and he's really vulnerable to silence. But I don't know. I just don't really like Abaddon that much.
I wish the range on his heal and his shield got like swapped, because the shield's the big spell. If you have a long range on that shield, you can save people from far away. The heal can save people, but it's the shield that gets rid of stuns, gets rid of hexes, and makes that hero able to.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Or just compare him to a hero like Tree. I think Tree just offers a lot more because you don't have to have like really precise timing with your living armor as you do with the shield. You just have to do it like sometime during a burst as opposed to like after a stun. Oftentimes you're like waiting, and then it's just like too late, or you just get disabled. But I much prefer Weaver Tree over Weaver Abaddon.
Weaver doesn't slip through. Both teams going with a strong picks in their own. Darkseer as well as the Alchemist. Darkseer, one of the most powerful offlane heroes in the world. Any lineup, I feel like this hero will just go well with any lineup, and there's no game where you can think, oh, they would have done better with this hero instead of a Darkseer. He wins his lanes. He does well in team fights. He does well late game because of the wall. As for the Alchemist, I guess fairly early Alchemist pick, but this is almost one of those go-to carry heroes.
Yeah, I mean, they had the double minus armor too. So
Yeah.
them having this already like opens up Roshan for them. When you have like 2 or 3, they can get like Shadow Fiend or something like that. We saw Shadow Fiend picked up last week, or Medallion. That just you just melt Roshan in like 5 or 10 seconds, and it's always a constant threat in the opponent's mind. It's like, oh, they could be smoked into Roshan right now, and you constantly have to check it. They do have Visage Birds for that, but that is something that you always have to consider. They banned out Crystal Maiden. Wow, very surprising.
Yeah, I'm unusual ban for sure. I think the really cool thing about the Naga Alchemist back on that is that even early game, if Alchemist wants to go for the normal like stun, if he's a farming Alchemist, you go stun Grievel's Greed, you still get the minus armor from Naga Siren, which makes the stun do a ton of damage
Right.
because it's physical. So minus Riptide minus armor followed up by a stun can obliterate any support hero almost. But yeah, CM ban, bit unusual, but both teams seem to be looking to ban a support as well as some of these solos here, and we're going to see a solo mid Queen of Pain. It looks like.
Yeah, pretty strong pick. It looks like they're going to ban out the Puck as well. So against Queen of Pain, there's not really too many good options. OD's already banned out, Puck's already banned out, and there's not too many other heroes that like have a good chance of winning a lane versus Queen of Pain. So Dignitas looks like they just want to win all 3 lanes if possible. Visage, one of the strongest tri-lane heroes. Queen of Pain, one of the stronger solo mids, pending certain bans. And Stay Free just going for a more well-balanced strategy, just they have better late game, more disables right now, a little bit more AoE, and the minus armor that we talked about earlier.
Do you think Dignitas would go offensive tri-lane though against what we're seeing here? These 3 heroes, I feel that's.
I feel like that's too
ballsy.
risky. Yeah, that is extremely risky. I think maybe if they can gain control of the jungle with a Chen or an Enchantress pickup, they possibly can. These heroes are pretty weak versus that's the jungle roam, but versus just like a straight up triple lane with Visage and Nyx +1, I don't think it can. I don't think it can hold up.
Nyx especially, I don't feel you want to go offensive tri-lane.
Yeah,
just he needs a few levels. He's not that powerful at level 1, but Shadow Fiend gets taken up. There's a hero who can match up decently against Queen of Pain. It's not the funnest matchup, but as far as matchup for SF goes, it's not too bad.
It really depends on the Queen of Pain player, though. If the Queen of Pain player plays passively, then Shadow Fiend will win the lane starting at level 5. But if you have a really aggressive Queen of Pain player that goes 1 or 2 in Shadow Strike and just plays constantly aggressive on the opposing team, and if they do have a safe lane support too, or safe lane triple lane, they can rotate and try and keep the Shadow Fiend down. So I think Dignitas will definitely run a safe lane triple lane, so they have the option of keeping the Shadow Fiend down, because we saw Shadow Fiend just like absolutely demolish last weekend. That's pretty much like the weak point in Stay Freeze lineup right now. Naga Siren, Alchemist, Bane, very strong tri-lane. Alchemist can usually catch up and farm anyways if you can gank him, and I don't really think they have the lineup to gank him early. Visage and Nyx like pretty weak at level 1, especially in the triple lane, so I don't think they'll contest.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is you've got Darkseid, who's one of the best off laners. Putting Darkseid as safe lane just almost feels
versus
like a
3 like relatively low range heroes. 2 of them are melee. Bane has like crap range too, so.
So I think definitely Darkseid. The one thing we could see is an offensive tri-lane from Stay Free with Naga, Alchemist, Bane. It'd be risky, but even if Alchemist doesn't, I mean, with the offensive tri-lane, your carry Alchemist isn't going to farm as well, but you've got the secondary carry, the Shadow Fiend, and going tri-lane versus tri-lane means the supports can't gank the Shadow Fiend.
I think it's too weak to do so, though. I think that would be a good idea to try and secure Shadow Fiend some farm, but like Nyx can just burn the Bane, and then it'll be too difficult for the Alchemist to CS, and they can still roam. It's not like they can't just like sit there with one hero under the tower and still smoke gank mid. And those supports are just like forced to stay there and babysit the Alchemist as opposed to roam themselves or get levels and pull or whatever it may be.
What kind of carry should we be looking at for Dignitas here? I guess the Korok hero is supposedly going to be playing that carry role.
Oh, he's actually playing their carry role? That's surprising. I'm not exactly sure. I'm trying to think of any. They do have like a pretty good team fight lineup if they can coordinate it well with Darkseer Vacuum to Nyx stun, Queen of Pain, Ultimate, and Scream into a Visage stun combo. So maybe something that Wombo combos with that, but there's nothing that like stands out to me as like particularly amazing. You could get Gyrocopter.
Yeah, Gyro is the safe. I'd love to see just like a safe lane Storm. Just there's Gyro though.
That's a safe one.
Very standard draft coming up from Dignitas.
The problem with Gyrocopter is he needs BKB, but if he gets BKB, he's going to be focused by Naga Siren as well as Bane, and he's still vulnerable to a lot of the right click damage from Shadow Fiend. So I'm not like too like sold on the Gyrocopter pick. Is the obvious choice. I think there are better options. I can't really think of it in 20 seconds. So it looks like they were really pressed for time, sitting at 1 second left on reserve.
This is where I feel Stay Free, the ideal pick for them, which shouldn't have even got this far, is the Nature's Prophet. But the problem is if you can't play the hero like Bulldog, it's no longer the ideal pick.
You can do Lone Druid too.
Yeah. But if you can play a fantastic Nature's Prophet here, where you block the pool camp using treants, just be as annoying as possible, then go to the jungle, get your fast Midas Shadowblade treads. Fantastic pick, but the problem's going to be these guys maybe haven't really practiced that.
But they do have a ton of reserve time left, sitting at 130. So, I mean, they could go another minus armor. Weaver would have been pretty good for them. Clock looks like he's been banned. What other offlaners are available to them? I mean, we saw Elder Titan before, solo offlane. That's an option with the recent implementation of adding them to Captain's mode. Of the other typical ones, Bounty Hunter.
That's a good option because he can actually disrupt the lane a bit. Like if you go Elder Titan, you can get zoned out completely. You're not a hero who has an escape or an invis. This will force the supports to buy sentries, dust. You can maybe try and pull the creep wave. You can just try to be as annoying as possible. This is a solid last pick here, and a very non-farm dependent hero as well.
Yeah, I think the lineups, I mean, Team Dignitas is more straightforward, but I think if both teams can execute very well, I think that Stay Free actually has a better lineup. I like it a little bit more. It's more flexible, it has good gank, it has like decent team fight with Song of the Siren and Fiend's Grip going to BKB, decent amount of AoE with Alchemist and Shadow Fiend, anti-push, and Track Gold, always like a fallback mechanic, a comeback mechanic. Somebody came back in Cranium, I hear.
Not well enough.
You would be the king of comeback, knowing about comeback mechanics.
If only Blitz didn't watch Top Gear. He ruined the comeback. We were dead last place. We were still at the starting position when they were everyone else was halfway around the board, and we came back and almost won. It was a truly heroic effort.
Oh, so they are they doing an aggressive triple lane? My goodness, this is super ballsy.
It's one of those things. I think it's not the right decision based on the drafts, but it is when you're Dignitas, because I think they're just going to rely on just outskilling their opponents, making better decisions.
They going to, I mean, we saw like last week, Dark Falco just being way overconfident in the middle, I'd say. He got first blood at level 3, and then I wouldn't say they lost the series because of that, but it hurt them so badly because I think they usually rely on him like at least getting even in this lane. So overconfidence can play a big factor when you're a bigger team or a more well-known team like Dignitas versus a relatively unknown team like SF.
Well, we'll introduce our two teams. Over on the Radiant side, it is Team Stay Free. A couple late-minute roster changes. We will see Rolo playing the support Nagasara, and we've got Corey playing the Alchemist, farming it up. We've got Jabano playing the Bane. In the mid lane, we've got Rhyme on the Shadow Fiend. Then finally, off-lane Bounty Hunter is going to be, what is this guy? Enzo. As he's going to have a 1v1 matchup, but not a very fun one.
Yeah, so looking at these three lanes, or do we introduce... Did you introduce both teams?
No.
Okay.
They're all yours, Ben.
On the side of Dignitas, we have Fog Dodo. Looks like they've had a couple of roster changes. The only member that stayed is Fog. Way Too Sexy, Aoi, Universe, and who was the last guy?
Snaking.
Yeah. Snaking. They're all dispersed.
Snaking's was playing on a team with Bambo and Come With Me in a qualifier.
Interesting. And then on the solo safe lane, we have Infinity on the Queen of Pain, and on the triple lane, aggressive triple lane, to say the least, is PPD on the Visage. We have Korok on the Gyrocopter, and High 1437 on the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah. So this is very risky going offensive Tron, but the one thing it does give him is a 1v1 matchup for Queen of Pain, which should be easily won. Queen of Pain versus Bounty Hunter is not fun at all for Bounty Hunter.
I actually think the matchup mid would have been better for the Queen of Pain to go there instead of the Darkseer, because I think that he's sitting at 3 souls right now, and he actually, I mean, that's way more than he should get like on the first creep wave.
Yeah, he has been pulled the double regen, gets a Tango and Salve with the Wraith Band just to help ensure those early last hits, which is so important. But even so, Darkseer just can't pressure him at all this lane, really.
Yeah, Darkseer like would just crush a Bounty Hunter too. So I'm very surprised that they made the decision. Maybe they are really relying on their off lane to rotate, but as it's going right now, I think that Shadow Fiend is getting a little bit too much in his lane.
Yep. Bottom trial, and then we'll see some pull contests. Dignitas got a nice little ward off just to give vision of when they're pulling. They didn't try and block the pull, but they are going to come in. Actually gets an impale off. I think 1437 got both those 2 neutral creeps, so nice pickup for him.
Yeah, and nice warding right here. They do have sentries in case, but this is a very, very unusual ward spot on the side of Dignitas. Most people anticipate a ward over here, or perhaps a ward over here, so this ward that they place is very, very unlikely to be warded.
Yeah, this is perfect vision. This is exactly what they need to try and contest this triple lane at bottom. And it's going to slow down the Alchemist farm quite a lot, but I feel for Stay Free, they're just going to look to stay calm, not give away the kills there, and hope that Shadow Fiend can just do his thing, get some levels, not necessarily win mid lane, but at least get enough farm that they can make up for Alchemist not getting his farm at bottom.
Yeah, and on the top lane, we see the Queen of Pain, who was pulled some sentries, absolutely destroying this Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter sitting at 4-1, and it looks like Queen of Pain is actually playing very aggressively on him right now, going for an early Ring of Basilius, so we could see a tower push if Bounty Hunter is forced to go back home and heal.
Very cost-effective item in this one-burn matchup when you maybe can't get to the bottle. He has gone 2 in Shadow Strike as well, so we'll see a lot of harass coming out from this. And yeah, like you say, with the Sensual pull, he's just going to win his lane quite handily. But both teams, despite having a trail lane versus trail lane, we're seeing very safe passive play. Something which happened a lot on Wednesday here, especially when you're going up against Dignitas. You're not going to look to take big risks unless that's your only way of beating them. And I think it's something which a lot of teams were kind of almost misled into doing that. They didn't want to play aggressive, and as a result, they made mistakes just by playing too safe.
Yeah, they need pocket strategies if they want to overcome big names, unless they're like very confident that you can win in the standard game, but most of the time that's not true, or we would know about them already.
And I think this is almost definitely a problem in the bottom lane.
Oh, mid lane?
Oh,
Fog
no.
is in a lot
Can
of...
he get these raises here? Ryan can't get the raises. He's got no short range. He's only got a long range. Fog's just going to go for this kill, maybe.
Oh, nice. What a player right there. He was actually... the Shadow Fiend thought he was actually going to retreat and then use his...
Top lane. Bounty's dead.
Wow.
Shadow Strike poison kills him off. Queen of Pain used another Sentry Ward for that one. And oh, man. This is 2 1v1. This is what Dignitas... They don't care about the trail lane bottom not going... I mean, it's going just fine. Gyrocops is farming okay. He's got the same CS as Alchemist. They're just going to win these 1v1 matchups.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, Fog should not win this matchup. Shadow Fiend should get a decent amount of farm. He was doing very well in the first wave, which is pretty much Shadow Fiend's hardest time. But, I mean, with that kill, it's pretty much secured that Fog will win his lane, especially now that he already has a Soul Ring, he's Bottle Crowing, and he's about to creep sack at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, he'll creep sack this and probably just go straight back towards that middle lane. And oh, a bit late for it. It looks like there we go. He's coming out. He's going to surge back mid, and then he's just going to keep on farming. Meanwhile, bottom lane, still no aggression, and this should be aggression coming out from Stay Free because the Dignitas tri lane is very weak at level 1. I feel sure Gyrocopter one of the best level 1 tri lane heroes, but Visage will just have Brave Chill. He won't have his nuke yet. Nyx only has an Impale. Once these heroes get level 3, level 4, people die, and Corey's about to die. Impale, Soul Assumption, Alchemist is going to drop a stun. He's going to stay alive. Great triple stun, and 1437. Carapace saves his life. Jabanya gets stunned up. Another Carapace comes out. Both teams survive.
Wow.
Just barely.
That was incredibly close. I'm very surprised that the 3 of them were clumped right here. That is very unusual to see a Alchemist triple stun hit 3 people. So, I mean, you can kind of tell that they aren't used to playing together because that should almost never, ever happen.
Yeah, this lane's going to be very difficult to stay free. You can see now, all it takes is one long-range initiation from an Impale, and whoever that hits should die. There's no good counter initiation. Maybe you can sleep the hero to save him, but that's...
And what do you think about 1437's skill build? He actually didn't skill Manburn. I think if he had 1 point in it, he would have killed the Alchemist or the Bane Elemental.
The Carapace saved his life, though.
Yeah, but he would have got a kill?
Yeah.
I think it's more important for them to get kills as long as Korok doesn't, or as long as Korok survives.
Yeah. I definitely agree there. Fog is, he kills off the neutral stack. He's back towards the mid lane. He's got boots, Soul Ring. Probably going to see him start building towards a mech. And Shadow Fiend, despite the death, is still farming okay. He's got 29 CS. It's not a good start for him, but he's not really terribly far behind, I feel.
Yeah, he is like just on par with levels on Fog. He's just like maybe a third of a level behind, which is not that bad. And Fog is actually going home to heal right now, so that'll give a little bit of breathing room for the Shadow Fiend. He's actually catching up using these small neutral camp, lucking out with the Kobold spawn. So he actually has 28 souls, almost back to full.
Nice, okay.
He is back to full.
Yeah, mid lane's going to be just fine. Top lane, though, Bounty Hunter, 13 CS to the Queen of Pains, 36 last hits, 14 denies. This is just a huge mismatch. When he has the Sentry Wards, he's just going to dominate and control this lane. Bounty Hunter...
He's level 6 right now, though.
He should leave the lane, I feel.
Yeah, I think that both teams should leave the lane, just because bottom lane is, like... they were so close to dying right before.
SF in trouble.
They need...
SF at mid lane. He found a DD rune. Actually, no, Fox
mid or bottom lane? Does a track kill about to happen?
Oh, nice TP from Bounty Hunter. They've gone on 1437. It snares it. I actually think he's going to get backfired. Corey going to get blown up. One more right click finishes him off. Rolo now. Magic 6 going to keep him alive a bit longer, but here's Queen of Pain. You mentioned these solos need to rotate. Infinity does that. Gets a double kill, but we're going to actually see a lot of losses on the Dignitas side as well. They lose both Nyx and Visage for 3 kills. Make it
Bounty
more.
Hunter's going to die too.
The Shadow Strike damage, more than enough. That's just level 2. It looks like it's like level 3, level 4 poison, but...
I mean, bottom lane, you could tell that each team were just itching for kills. They were almost, like 3 heroes almost died before. So any one hero solo rotating will just completely upset the balance of the lane. And both of them came at almost the exact same time as soon as the nighttime hit, which is the perfect time, I'd say, as long as Bounty Hunter's level 6.
SF got forced out of mid lane as well, so not the best news for him. He did stack the neutrals on his way. He's got a triple stack here at this big neutral camp, so this is going to be absolutely fantastic for
And
him.
look at Fog playing very aggressively in the mid lane,
Yeah.
creep skipping in between the mid tier 1 and the tier 2.
He sees the hero's bottom, so he knows it's very unlikely he can be killed off. Bane just level 3. We will see a TP coming back mid from the Shadow Fiend, and immediately Fog's going to try and put pressure on him.
Oh yeah, and Korok too. Korok actually going for the very early fighting build, the phase into a drums, perhaps into a Shadow Blade later. But we see a lot of gyrocopters, maybe go Midas, maybe go Helmet Dominator. But Korok,
Bottom lane though, there's a kill. There's a rotation coming in. Bounty Hunter track is starting to come into play now. As they get it, Nyx Assassin was left alone bottom as
there's
the
a
other
triple
two heroes
stack
rotated
too for the
mid.
Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, and he kills it off. So this is good farm for him. Only about 500 gold. He just bought his tread, so not ridiculous. Nothing too much to worry about, but he gets some levels as well. He's level 8 now.
Oh, looks like Shadow Fiend wants to deny the tower, but knows that it's a terrible idea. Queen of Pain looks like she's going for an early Orchid, probably one of the highest levels in the game right now, just free farming away in the top lane.
Here we come. Radiant team Stay Free decide they need to make something happen. And it's going to be mid lane where they try focus effort. They're going to reveal Shadow Fiend, and they're going to think Shadow Fiend's alone because of this Observer Ward. Bounty Hunter, he gets revealed though, gets a track down, and they're not going to be able to get this Visage.
She doesn't have boost though. Oh, wow. I'm very surprised that the Shadow Fiend actually raised and pushed that out because it just forced the creep wave onto them, and PPD was just backing just simply because of the creep wave, not because he actually suspected a gank coming. They do have a ward up here, but wow, that could have been a very close
Alchemist
kill.
is dead. He's just been ganked out. Queen of Pain, easy. TP in with a Nyx Assassin stun and just instantly gets
Yeah,
killed.
he has to be very wary. There was an Observer Ward here before, and maybe he thought that it was still up. It just recently expired, but he is not safe down there, especially not alone. He is not even level 6 yet. Maybe if he's level 6, he can immediately TP out after the snare, but if not, you're just going to die to the amount of burst damage that they have.
Infinity finds himself a regen room. It's just what he needed. Get no mana at all. I love as soon as
Oh,
he
in
picks it
mid
up,
lane?
he's just throwing streams around. Mid lane, it's going to be SF caught alone here. There's a Bane to back him up. He's actually going to turn this around, and these two supports, they can't kill him alone. They don't have the damage needed. No Vendetta yet, but Queen of Pain is rotating through the jungle. Level 9 has absolutely everything. Sonic Wave is up, full HP, full mana, but may find someone coming in for the neutrals. SF isn't even going for that neutral stack right now. I'd love to see Queen of Pain just take it.
Yeah, all those people are really, really scared. They can't. They do have really good ward placement, especially this one on bottom. It scouted out Korok, who tried to come mid, as well as the Queen of Pain, and they can play very defensively because of that. We see a lot of TPs on top.
Track. Looking for another track killer. This is exactly what they need. And Snare will catch. Needs to be careful. A Rocket Barrage coming in. Could finish him off. And here comes Infinity. Gets one kill. He's going to go down for it. A huge kill for the SF to get just what you need. Insta buyback. Song of the Siren is there to slow down the Gyrocopter. But you're also giving time for the Queen of Pain to come back in. Queen of Pain's TP. Fog has arrived. He hasn't finished his Nexus yet. Drops a wall of Replica and gets Nightmare up. So I think Stay Free are going to get out scot-free. They may lose a tier 1 tower, but they keep SF alive. He gets
And Naga's alive too.
Yeah.
She barely just
Almost
misses
nice
screen.
tower.
Oh, is SF going to die this time
I
though?
don't think so. There's a brain sap to scare away the Queen of Pain. SF was actually trying to turn around and get off a double or triple raise there.
What about this Naga Siren? She's just sitting there. Is she waiting to gank from behind?
I may be waiting just to see if anything comes from it. Actually,
Alchemist
Queen
on
of Pain,
bottom lane.
They want to go for this. Bounty Hunter's there. There's no SF though. They don't have the raises, but with a Queen of Pain, no mana for the combo. Only has Insnare or Riptide, so unlikely to get this kill. Oh, Infinity.
Oh, he's so close to level 6. Nyx just hit level 6.
He's going to TP out now. Whew. That was a great fight for Stay Free.
Great fight indeed. They're getting the track kills, so even though they're slightly behind in kills, I think that with like the Shadow Fiend, you're kind of expected to lose the early game, especially if he died early. So I think they're recovering decently. Gold advantage still around 6,000 in favor of Dignitas, though.
It's quite ugly there, and that's the Alchemist not farming. Well, Dignitas have 3 of their core heroes farming. Only the SF is farming for the Radiant team, and a lot's going to be resting on his shoulders. But that 1 kill on Queen of Pain got him a lot of gold, ending the Queen of Pain's dominating streak. The other problem is that Stay Free are just struggling to defend their towers. Alchemist going to get stunned up behind his tower. He's channeling a stun though. Can they chain stun? Doesn't doesn't look like they can. Infinity stunned up, Instant as well, and here comes the Bane TPing in. Still no grip, just level 4, and they need the SF. SF is going to be a big source of damage. Infinity doesn't go down. He's on 20 HP, and unfortunately, they don't have any way of finishing off except for maybe a Bounty Hunter, but Alchemist going to die first, as does the Bane. Great cooldown coming out from Cork, and Rollock on the Naga Siren going to take a fall, but here's the SF. He's arrived, needs to try and get a Requiem of Souls. Can he get the double ultimate? No! I think it was just a single ultimate. He didn't get the
it was
first
just a
one
single
off.
ultimate. Oh my goodness, that was so close.
If
I
he
think
got the ultimate
he would have
off,
gotten 2 kills, I believe.
yeah. He needed the double ulti.
Yeah, I think Bounty Hunter there arrived a little bit late. He was farming the top lane, but you could see that they were rotating with this ward down here. I think that the Radiant's vision is actually lacking a little bit. They're like a little bit slow to react to the movement of Dignitas because it takes quite a while for them to swing all the way from bottom. We had 3 heroes down there. We saw 1 TP on the T1 and 1 just walk all the way from middle, but they weren't prepared there on time. They still got tower dove and incurred heavy casualties.
The other hero, I feel SF needs to be there at the start of the fight. He's their only real source of damage. SF raises and the Alchemist Unstable Concoction is what they have going as far as damage goes. They almost killed the Queen of Pain off using all 4 of their heroes except for the SF, but even Queen of Pain didn't die to the initial burst damage. So if they want to fight, it's got to be with the SF, but at the same time, SF is like, I don't want to fight. I don't have BKB because he's almost guaranteed to die if they decide to focus him.
One hero I'm really worried about this game is the Alchemist. He has no points in Gribble's Greed. He's forced to go this really defensive build with Strength Treads, Stout Shield, and a Magic Wand, and he is 0, 3, and 4 right now in the safe lane carry farm role. So if this keeps on going, he may be switched to forced builds or switch builds halfway through the game just because he's not going to be able to survive. And I think he may should just go into a mech, get the Bounty Hunter, get a Drums, Shadow Fiend, get a BKB, and once they get those 3 simple items, then they can actually start fighting. But Alchemist, I don't think he's going to be like a 6-slot Alchemist at 30, 35 minutes like we normally see.
Yeah, I totally agree. That solo mid Alchemist build, which a lot of the Chinese players like to used to do, going for that mech, would actually
there's a Shadow Blade up on Korok.
Oh man, he's ready to go. He's trying to go in mid. Alchemist starts challenging the stun. There's going to be a grip, but this grip will not last very long. Nyx Assassin tries to line up a multiple hero impale, doesn't actually get it. And
what a sleep!
The Siren, it's saving people's life. No Bane. He didn't actually get away. Naga Siren
wow.
The shell damage with the Revenant gets the kill on Naga Siren. It almost saved both of their lives, but ultimately didn't save either of their lives.
Yeah, that was just a perfect time for Dignitas to hit with the Shadow Blade coming up on the Gyrocopter and no sentries prepared by the Radiant. We talked about how Nyx Assassin, if you're prepared with sentries, she's not really that effective, but these more inexperienced teams just don't really have the, they just don't have the, what's the word? Help me out here. Don't have the experience, I guess, to always have sentries.
These inexperienced teams don't have
I couldn't think of the right word at the time.
You fumbling. I don't know.
I know, you were just looking at me like, I'm going to just let you suffer here.
But
I mean, where have they had sentries? I think they had 1 in middle, maybe, but aside from that, they had some at the start, but they can't just let these 2 individual heroes just run rampant on their team. Yeah. They've lost all their T1s right now, and they're slowly losing control of their jungle, unable to stack effectively, unable for Shadow Fiend and or Alchemist to catch up on farm. Things are looking pretty bad for them.
Yeah, this is dire straits for them. They little places to go here. Alchemist just needs to tank up as much as possible. I feel that the Shadow Blade would even be a bad idea. We'll be seeing gems, sentries as soon as there's already sentries on business. There's no way
he could just go like Mech Pipe.
Yeah, Mech Pipe, even straight BKB.
Yeah,
whatever it is, it needs to be tanky. SF needs to finish his BKB as soon as possible and just start building towards damage items. But it's going to be an uphill battle regardless of how this happens, and it's all about BKBs. Even Bounty Hunter needs to just go straight for one as well, because this damage is
Shadow Fiend.
Oh man, this is not too good for him. Revenant, Queen of Pain shows up, Sonic Wave is there, and they bring him down. And there's just nowhere safe to farm. You can't farm your own jungle, you can't farm any of the lanes.
Yeah, this is before Queen of Pain had Orchid too. She just bought the recipe in her stash, so there's a lot of heroes that can just solo kill people, or maybe with the help of Visage Birds, then they can get the kill. But SF is just really hard pressed to find any farmer the team rather than the hero, although both are having issues. He was trying to farm over here, pulling the creep away from the creep camp to be more in a position of safety around the T2, but it just isn't enough. Naga Siren's a little bit too low. She can't save people that often with her Song of Siren, and we see Bounty Hunter messing around a little bit with Fog on the bottom.
Korok's getting a big fat ancient stack as well here. His team's been stacking this for some time. It looks like he didn't even go for the Helm of the Dominator, but it was about I think a 4 stack, and with this he's going to be up to 2,000 gold almost. Probably see a BKB build out of him, but even a straight damage build wouldn't be too bad here.
Yeah, and I think it's about right for Dignitas to pick up a gem pretty soon, take down any vision that SF has, as well as scout out the bounty hunter if he ever tries to look. I mean, they can get a good fight if Dignitas is caught unprepared, but that's very unlikely to happen considering the vision of SF right now. They only have one hero protecting the Alchemist right now. That is not safe enough. They don't have any vision in their own jungle. The only ward they have out right now is on the bottom T1 tower.
Yeah, they're very limited with their vision, and something like a gem would almost just seal the deal here, because at that point you deward the enemies, you deward any protection these heroes have. They're going to be too scared to even farm the jungle. We will still core again, ganked out again at bottom lane. Grip coming out on Fog, they're going to try and turn this around, but immediate Revenant's done. Great micro coming out from PPD on the Visage, and now Dignitas, they're striking while the iron's hot. They're ready to go in. Infinity hasn't got his Orchid up right now, but he's going to finish off Rolo. Oh, the sleep came, but the Scream had already been cast, so Infinity gets the kill anyways. He's going to dust up the Bounty Hunter, taking a lot of damage here, but Bounty, no Shuriken, blink to the high ground.
Oh!
Oh, Infinity, instant buyback.
Second buyback of the game for him.
I feel like I'm watching Infinity play matchmaking right now with these insta buybacks. Every single death of his has been followed by an insta buyback.
Yeah, there was no reason for the Alchemist and the Shadow Fiend to be like all the way out here. Or sorry, the Alchemist and the Bane to be way just out of place.
Queen of Pain finds the Bounty Hunter with a Sonic Wave just after the kills at bottom lane, and now Bounty Hunter takes a fall. Bane and Alchemist can just sit and watch, and Alchemist is going for the Shadow Blade build, has picked up the Shadow Amulet, but it's going to do very little. I'm sure Dignitas see this, and there's just one more incentive to buy a gem.
Mm-hmm. I think that SF just needs to try and 5-man with track and try and get kills, whether it be smoking with Fiend's Grip, whatever it may be, but they are falling behind.
SF has come in. He's going to try and throw one raise. He actually gets Nightmare up.
Oh,
Great
what a
vacuum impale. Oh, it looked good, but I don't know if they can follow it up with a whole lot. Fog is trying to just do enough damage with the Iron Shell. He hasn't got mech up right now. Alchemist down onto Fog. Fog may actually take a fall here. Here comes 1437. Was that a blind raise?
He had a
okay, Sentry Ward. Never mind. I thought it was a blind raise for a second. They get 2 kills. Okay.
That was like 2v5 though. 2v4, 2v5.
Were they track kills as well? Imagine at least one of them.
Yeah, I imagine at least one of them. Well, they do have the comeback mechanic with the Bounty Hunter, but unless Dignitas just starts like throwing, doing stuff like that, their lead, I don't want to say is insurmountable, but it's pretty solid right now, sitting around 14,000 gold. They haven't done Roshan yet, and Gyrocopter hasn't been in some of the recent fights, but I mean, as far as I can tell, this Visage player, he's been pretty spot on. I talked about a little about him being unknown, but his Visage micro has been pretty good. His birds have been like at the right place at the right time. He has been sacking this neutral camp at the same time. He's been involved in a fair amount of kills. He hasn't died that often, so I must say he's been playing very, very well.
Yeah, the familiars seem to have been in really key ganks as well. Even when the hero's not there, he'll have the familiars ganking with the Nyx Assassin or something. He's got treads, but I'll let that pass. I'm not sure about the fast treads on Visage, but I'd love to see a fast medallion, and then just take down Roshan whenever they can. Because right now with their map control, give an Aegis to Infinity just so he can stop buying back every time he dies.
Well, looks like somebody is in trouble in middle if he doesn't go in this. There they go.
Good guy Fog just passed off his bottle to the Queen of Pain, but here's the pick off though. It's going to be the Bounty Hunter. He gets scattered out. Just dust here. They still haven't pulled up a gem, and 1437 ensnared. Not going to really slow him down all too much.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why SF is trying to split up and farm in like small packs. They need to just 5-man and try and find where Dignitas is not. Like if they can take a 5-on-3 fight, 5-on-2, 5-on-1 even with track kill, I think that's worth it for them at this point. Make Dignitas feel a little bit scared because all they're doing is scouting with 1437 and just getting very, very easy kills right now.
Yeah, almost like maybe Stay Free just need to just take a big chance, buy a gem of their own so they can scout the Nyx Assassin. But probably not the time or place for that, but we're going to see Dignitas go for Roshan. There's no way SF can contest this. Even they get the
Song of the Siren.
Song of the Siren, BKB SF, maybe?
Oh, there's a relic on Gyrocopter. He's going straight rapier.
Cool.
No games.
This is his Aegis. Dignitas, they've got swag. Something that Pretty Boy Swag did not have on Wednesday.
Well, it looks like they're trying to smoke, but they're just like way too late. Look at where their positioning is right now. They're all very, very scared in their own jungle. They aren't really smoked up, and they're just farming like one neutral camp with 5 heroes. You can tell that they feel the pressure from Dignitas right now, unable to really farm anywhere.
Fog just goes man mode. He's just going to go running straight in, finds the SF as well as the Bounty Hunter. SF does have BKB, so maybe this will be the one fight safe you try and take BKB ultimate, but there was a Song of the Siren gets immediately cancelled, and well, they bring down Darkseer at the cost of the Naga Siren. Rune is still trying to do some damage here. oh sorry, Rhyme, while he's in his BKB form. BKB is over now. Infinity, immediate silence. They're bringing down his supporting cast. Naga goes down, as does Bane. And then finally, they bring down the SF last. Save the best for last. 4 heroes on the sidelines. Bounty Hunter, he's on the run. It looks like he's actually going to get out of this one, but Tier 2 Tau going to take a fall. Gyrocopter, still no Divine Rapier. The game may end before it.
Yeah, a little bit of miscoordination by them. I think he cast a Sonic Siren as the grip was going on.
Yeah.
And he had to cancel it very, very quickly because Shadow Fiend was also channeling his ultimate. So all in all, 4-for-0 team fight for Dignitas. And this is without the Rapier on Gyrocopter.
I think there was just no saving that fight. I think he realized the fight was going to go bad, so he's like, I got to cast Song, we're losing this fight. But at the same time, they'd already committed to throwing the SF ultimate, to throwing the Bane grip, that they had to, it was just a case where they just had to fight and die. We're going to see one last stand here, it looks like, coming out from Stay Free. They throw the Alchemist down. They're going to bring down Korok here maybe, but he's got the Aegis. Korok not even going down. He's on 40 HP. 40 HP is more than enough. And there's the GG call. 22 minutes is all it took. The fastest game so far, the MLG North American League. We've had lots of 40, 50, 6-minute games on Wednesday, but Dignitas, they waste no time at all.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly, I'd say. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a lot of games where like early solo kills that shouldn't happen, and then it just snowballs from there.
It really did, I feel, with the Queen of Pain. The SF dying to the Darkseid was a big, big snafu, but at the same time, it didn't seem to affect the game all too much. SF caught up. He never really felt like he was behind, but
He didn't have any support from his team, it felt like no one was really doing anything around the map. They were initiating. They were always just reacting to ganks. Like Vendetta initiate, Queen of Pain Blinken initiate, like whatever it may be. Like Radiant was always just running, trying to hug their towers, waiting for more support to come in, never really gaining the foothold to go offensive at all.
the one thing I would have loved to see is the Radiant Trialing just taking a fight at level 1. With you have the Bane sleep to try and save whoever's dying to the rocket barrage maybe, and then you just rely on the power of the Riptide plus Alchemist stun. That does like half a support hero's HP at level 1.
Yeah, Nexus Assassin's stun is like garbage at level 1.
Visage doesn't have Soul Assumption at level 1, or if he does, it means he only has 1 Soul Assumption and no Grave Chill. But that concludes game 1. Dignitas take a convincing win. We'll have to see if they take game 2. John, what did you think of game 1?
It was a pretty straightforward victory for Dignitas. There's a couple things worth noting. Fog, back when he did play solo middle, and I know you guys probably realize this too, had a really versatile mid-hero rotation. I mean, he could play quite the variety of heroes, including stuff like Warlock, stuff like Darkseer, and much more with much more confidence than perhaps some other solo players could use. So I think that may have been a factor here. And also on Stay Free's roster, Enso is the solo middle, so it makes you wonder if they adjusted to include the stand-ins in a better capacity. So perhaps that could have been another factor at play for them that maybe hindered their ability to win that matchup. I don't know, just some ideas throwing out there. I know it's tough to play with 2 stand-ins. 1 stand-in, it's not as hard, but you're losing almost half of your roster there, so definitely a learning process.
Yeah, it is a learning process, and Dignitas, you can see, just I think really outclassed them, especially in that trial lane. But I don't know. Do you think they can bounce back, or is this looking like the end for this team from the start?
I think there's certainly a lot of potential from Stay Free, but they're definitely at the rework things. You cannot lose, both solo lanes like they did with Queen of Pain taking the top lane, Darkseer taking the mid lane pretty handily, and then not getting farm on the Alchemist. I think the baby step to kind of getting into a game is securing 1 lane. So if it means picking some better heroes for your tri lane, if it means picking a better matchup middle, then that's what they're going to have to do in the second game. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. But of course, before we go to the second game, let's go ahead and go to a commercial break so we can get everyone into the client and set up. When we come back, we'll have game 2 of Dignitas versus Stay Free coming up. This is the North American Dota 2 League from MLG Studios. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you after the break.